Salutations everyone, it is Matty here with my thoughts on Anthem's demo. Titles under the umbrella of EA are often an easy target for criticism without much questioning, so I want to say off the bat that this isn't designed to be an antagonistic take on the game. There are positive things I have to say about Anthem, but first, let me share with you the arduous process behind me being able to get past the title screen. I heard on Friday through the grapevine known as social media that there were some teething issues with Anthem's demo when it came to connectivity, loading screens, and access. To be frank, I expected this, and this is spoken without pessimism. On Saturday, day 2 of the demo, I took a trip to my local GameStop, put $5 down on the game, and acquired a code to get demo access on my PS4. Upon signing into my EA account to redeem said code, I was unable to since my account apparently had access already. I shrugged my shoulders, picked up the controller, and got ready to play, only to be met with a screen saying I didn't have access. Turns out my PSN wasn't linked, which falls on me. However, my Origin account that I always use was the one that had apparent access. Naturally, I downloaded the demo on my PC instead and gave it a whirl. Nope, still no access. So I made a separate account with the same email as my PSN because according to EA's support site, that's how you link the two accounts together. Still no access. Mind you, this is over the course of a few hours, so the frustration is beginning to ramp ever so slightly. A viewer generously offered me access to the demo with one of their friend codes, and upon signing in through their invitation, I was reminded that, guess what? I already have access. In the hopes of triggering something within EA's system via the friend invite, back to the game I go, only to be met with the same godforsaken screen. I toss my hands in the air and drop my head on the desk only to be met with a painful thud. That's it. I'll go to EA support officially. Well, I guess a lot of people are having issues because the support site actually wouldn't load for about 7 to 10 minutes, roughly. Eventually, it does load up as sweat begins to form on my now frowning brow because there was almost an hour wait for me to talk to someone, and it wasn't guaranteed at that time that they fixed my problem. After about 15 minutes of chatting, the kind EA support representative gave me official access, and wrestling with my EA account was a thing of the past. Almost 5 hours of my evening torched. But, alas, I have something to show for it. These bygone methods BioWare decided to use for this demo are downright silly. It is as if I was almost punished for not slapping down $60 for a digital pre-order where I wouldn't have even had to go through their site. Quite the head scratcher, don't you think? Upon my first time booting up the game and trekking into the unknown world beyond the title menu, I was caught in what is known as the infinite loading screen bug, which BioWare is well aware of. The only way to get out of this is to entirely close down the application and start the game back up. My heart dropped when I realized my play button for Anthem was grayed out and that Origin was telling me the game is still running even when the game is doing anything but that. Fortunately, a quick restart of Origin gave me my shiny button and back into the fray I went with the continued expedition button. This time, I patiently waited through a loading screen with my stomach turned upside down at the building fear that I may have traded out one problem for another. Oh my god, I'm in, and it's what the? No, why? Okay, we're back. What? Please keep working. Fortunately, it did, and after many hours, I was finally playing Anthem. Whew, story time is done. Really frustrating stuff. I'll get into that more at the end of the video, but now let's have a more serious dialogue about the game itself, involving what I liked and didn't like about the game. Since we are being dropped in the middle of this game with its demo version, understanding the story/universe is a bit laborious, and those efforts are best saved for when the full game is out. The library is chock full of sweet, succulent details on the world, environments, factions, and more that you can read about to your heart's content. I read most of the entries and found myself curious, wanting to learn more about what is happening here. Hopefully the story and characters will fill in some of the gaps. My first gripe with this game is the style of cutscene. It was very reminiscent of games such as Dying Light or Far Cry 5, and that isn't a form of flattery from me. I often struggle to connect to characters when cutscenes are done this way because it becomes incredibly obvious that your point of view is someone holding a camera in a studio. Awkward close-ups that wouldn't happen in an actual first-person conversation, slow panning movements when looking left or right, the reluctance of actors in front to actually interact with your character, the whole shebang. Call it a nitpick, but once you notice it, it's hard to erase. It's not a concern solely dedicated to this game I complained about in my Far Cry 5 review, so don't think I'm choosing to pick on BioWare. The gameplay is where Anthem really picks things up and you get into a rhythm. Flying, shooting, pulling abilities, and looting. That's the name of the game, and it can be fun as hell, if not a bit familiar for myself. It's clear BioWare took more than a little inspiration from Andromeda in this one, and I'm not sure many will notice that similarity because that was a catastrophic launch where many folks skipped out. While Andromeda's name has been dragged through the mud, the gameplay for it was great. You had 3 abilities, you could air dodge, float while shooting, all things shared with its cousin Anthem, and that doesn't make it bad. Both games play fun, and where Anthem builds on that fun is through the environment. Level design in Anthem will leave you slack-jawed. Areas are expansive to a point of bewilderment and gives you and your enemies plenty of room to go hog wild. As the chaos ensues, a flurry of color, explosions, dust, bullets, sparks, blood, and more creates an appeasing battlefield erupting right in front of your eyes. At times, it can be a little much to the point of disorientation, but I never had much trouble adjusting. While the blend of weight, movement, dashing, well-timed abilities was instantly gratifying, I was wowed by how well balanced the enemies were. They posed a threat to me, but didn't smudge my bullets for far too long before the disorientation came in a new form known as Gamer Autopilot, where I'm rinsing and repeating my abilities to take out an enemy with way too high of a health pool. There was actually one highlight for me where my team and I scaled up a ramp and had to rain down hell on enemies attempting to stop us. It was exhilarating and had the adrenaline pumping a little bit. Anthem even sports gargantuan bosses that have multiple phases which kept me mobile and paying attention to my surroundings. Since this giant creature hit hard, and I'm talking one shot and I'm dead type hard, it upped the ante for a climactic finish to this stronghold. Style and gameplay seem to be what Anthem is all about, and from what I experienced, it mostly nails it. This is punctuated by the Interceptor that I unlocked, who flipped about like a ninja with quick strike abilities, especially when kitting my Javelin out with different weapons and abilities to fit their respective playstyles. I saw something for everyone there. It's easy to understand, accessible, and doesn't overwhelm the player with a million stats on their new weapon, where you're left staring at your inventory for 20 minutes and instead getting back to the action. It's quick, concise, and well presented. For that, give the UI team a round of applause. The only gripe that came about on the gameplay side was a lack of cohesion with my squad as someone who played with a group of randoms. I would love for not only to be able to chat with my teammates because none of them were using their mics when I did the push to talk feature, but also more ability combos. What is supposed to be a co-op affair often feels like 4 people playing Island Anthem in the same space. While it's still fun in its self-contained format, this is a game that can reach even greater heights if it emphasizes more combos rather than small text over the body of an enemy you decimate. What also holds it back is the occasional lag, rubber banding, and the final cutscene of my expedition missions flat out not working. It's a tad worrisome that a vertical slice of a game which has recently gone gold is bogged down by intrusions that go beyond just technical errors. Some of you may be surprised by the positive words I have for BioWare. I am an old school BioWare fan at that. I adore Dragon Age Origins, the original Mass Effects, as well as Knights of the Old Republic. I don't think I need to go on any further about that. However, BioWare went through some turnover, so I'm willing to give this new BioWare, apparently their A studio who is working on this game, a chance. That is part of the reason why I'm especially curious about their story. As for the small chunk of story we did have in Anthem's demo, I found myself curious about the Manifold as it multiplied Matthias physically but divided him psychologically. I had no investment in saving him personally, but it built for a good mystery and had me compelled to investigate even if it were temporary. It's a shame I never saw its true conclusion, but it gave me a glimmer of hope that if this small slice of Anthem had me narratively intrigued, that perhaps the full game may perform a miracle. Between that and the library, I won't be too surprised if there's a bunch of lore nerds, myself included, who dig deeper than BioWare even expected. This is coming from someone, once again, who loves traditional BioWare. I know some may think I'm just longing to love BioWare again, but I think my history of videos on them speaks for themselves. After my time with the demo, the gameplay, sprawling environments, and ever-building curiosity in Anthem's universe has me willing to give it a rip on launch day. However, I say that fully expecting issues such as connectivity, lag, and rubber banding to be a thing of the past on launch day. These are struggles to be expected in demos and betas. In my personal opinion, I know some people get more angry than I, but it doesn't make them any less frustrating for me, which is why I chose to share my experience with the internet. BioWare is giving all VIP users access to all Javelins during the open beta the following weekend, so at least they're responding to criticism quickly and to an extent properly for those who are still interested in the game. Even as someone who doesn't advocate for pre-orders, I have to feel bad for the folks who were stoked to the high heavens about this game, put $60 down, and went through the same process I did. Fortunately, mine was only $5, and as a lot of you know, I'm a latecomer to the Anthem excitement train, and more so, I tend to hang on the side of curiosity rather than pure unapologetic excitement for this game. But what I did experience in this demo has potential, and it does seem fun. And I did notice the game did reward you pretty frequently. Upon finishing most missions, I got about 10 to 20 gold, and there was often enemies that dropped gold, so I was pretty often acquiring new cosmetics for my character. However, I know the economy has been rigged in this demo to give us more, to give us an experience like that, versus the base game, which is going to make us pay more. So for those out there who are feeling, wow, I really felt like there was a sense of progression, I was constantly getting new things, you do get new loot pretty often at the end of every mission, but when it comes to actual coins and changing how your character looks, that's the type of stuff I'm really curious to see how EA rigs. All I can really say is that EA needs to really take a hands-off approach with this, because this is a title that I see potential in. I don't know much about the story, so I can't really speak on that side of things. However, BioWare seems dedicated to really staying up to date with this title, patching it as soon as possible, communicating with fans. That was probably one of the most encouraging things, despite all the issues that came from the VIP demo, is that BioWare was on there posting a big update every single day, and I fully expect that as well when any problems arise with Anthem that start to gain a lot of traction. But there's work to be done, which is nerve-wracking since, as I said earlier, the game has gone gold, which means development should be done. I imagine there will be a pretty large day one patch. So that is just my general thoughts on Anthem's demo. It was pretty much a disaster for me the whole way through. I only got about 3 hours of actual playtime in, and what was there was fun, but at times bogged down by issues like the infinite loading screen most frequently. I'd love to hear about your experience with this demo in the comments down below. Fire away, ladies and gentlemen. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook. Those links are in the description down below, along with my Patreon. Do consider supporting that, as it fuels all the content I create here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.